fought the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
Every time I think I buried the console wars in the same graveyard where Blockbuster rests in peace, right next to Hollywood Videos, right by the Toys R Us tombstone, just across from the sad, overgrown, patch-labeled Sears, Sega comes flying out of the shadows like a bat out of hell. No warning, no subtlety, just bam. Hey, remember me? I was the cooler uncle, the one with the leather jacket, the sunglasses, the motorcycle. Your mom didn't trust me, but I always let you play the games with blood in them. And you know what? I can't even be mad. I can't help but smile, because I had the honor, no, the privilege of growing up in the very first console war. Not the Twitter war, not console war discourse on Reddit where everyone argues about teraflops. No, I'm talking about the OG Battlefield. Back before YouTubers were screaming into webcams about frame rates, before TikTok was spitting out 30-second hot takes, we had something pure, something raw. We had commercials. And not just any commercials, I'm talking nuclear grade trash talk shot straight into your Saturday morning cartoons. You're sitting there, bowl of sugary cereal, and could give you diabetes in one spoonful, and suddenly the TV screams, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. That slogan, that wasn't just advertising, that was a declaration of war. That was the equivalent of Sega walking into Nintendo's living room, slapping Mario across the face, and then speeding off in a Ferrari, with Sonic flipping the bird out the window. It was glorious. It hit like a stone cold Steve Austin stunner right through the screen. Forget Call of Duty lobbies, forget Xbox versus PlayStation on Twitter. Sega and Nintendo in the 90s were beefing harder than rappers in the 2000s, and every kid in America was caught in the middle like it was the Cold War. My first taste of this madness, Sega Genesis, it was Sonic the Hedgehog. The blue blur changed my life, and let me be honest, that controller, that thing wasn't a controller, it was a spaceship steering wheel. 3 buttons, that's it, ABC. You didn't need 14 shoulder buttons. You don't need dual analog sticks. You don't need a dedicated post your highlights on TikTok button. You had 3. And if you couldn't make magic with A, B, and C, then maybe you just weren't cut out for this thing called gaming. But then came the plot twist. The first console I ever owned with my name on it, the Super Nintendo. And when I held the controller for the first time, my 8-year-old brain nearly exploded. Shoulder buttons, 2 extra buttons. Are you kidding me? That was wizardry. That was me getting promoted to captain of the Starship Enterprise. I half expected the thing to beam me up to space. And the games, oh man, the games. Sega gave us Sonic, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe. Nintendo countered with Super Mario World, Zelda Link to the Past, F-Zero. It wasn't just gaming, it was an arms race. Every birthday party turned into a battleground. You go over to your buddy's house, he's got the Genesis, he's showing off Mortal Kombat with actual blood code, and suddenly your Super Nintendo feels like it came with the parental lockbox built in. But then you bust out Donkey Kong Country and suddenly you're the king again. This was the energy, this was life. Now fast forward today, I'm older, supposedly wiser, sipping coffee, strolling through my phone, and boom, Sega drops a trailer for Sonic Crossroads, and right out of the gate, you can tell this isn't just a racing game trailer. Oh no, this is Sega looking dead in Nintendo's soul and whispering, remember us? Yeah, we're still here, clown. I nearly spit my coffee across the room because let's be real, this was Sega pointing straight at Mario Kart World and saying, nice game, shame if someone ran faster. And then here comes the chorus of fanboys. Vigilante, you're just a Nintendo hater. You're always so negative. The irony kills me. No, I'm not a hater. I'm the guy standing outside the castle wall screaming, hey, the Emperor's naked, while they're charging us $70 for a base game and then $30 of cut content for the DLC. I'm not negative. I'm just not delusional. But the beauty of it all, it's not just me anymore. It's not just the critics. Now it's Sega. Now it's the developers. Now it's the gaming industry pointing and laughing. Now imagine this with me. Picture it. Sega decides, you know what? We're going all in. We're back, baby. They come storming back into the hardware game. Can you imagine it? Watching Nintendo sweat for the first time in decades, watching Sonic run literal laps around Mario while Mario stuck behind a $70 paywall and $20 DLC costume packs. Oh, I would buy tickets for that. I would live stream that fight. I would turn it into a Netflix documentary narrated by Morgan Freeman if I could. But let's hit the brakes here. Do I really think Sega's going to launch new hardware? No. Not unless they got a death wish. Have you seen console prices today? We're basically paying down payments on used cars just to buy a box that plays games. Unless Sega can whip out a handheld better than Nintendo at half the price or just a little cheaper, this just isn't happening. And let's not forget, Sega's last handheld, the Game Gear, was basically a nuclear battery disposal machine. That thing ate batteries faster than Kirby eats buffets. I loved it, but if you actually bought a Game Gear on a road trip, you had maybe 12 minutes of battery life before you had to pull over and sell a kidney to buy more AA batteries. But you know what Sega does have? The IPs, the sauce. They got Sonic, Persona, Total War, Puyo Puyo, Yakuza, Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi, Virtua Fighter. They had the library, they had the DNA. You put those bangers out on modern polish, you got Nintendo looking over their shoulder real fast. And don't even tell me Nintendo wouldn't get petty about it. We know them. Oh, Sega's making a kart racer. Well, time to patent a steering wheel. Don't laugh, they may try it. This is the same company out here patenting summoning mechanics in RPGs. I'm half expecting a Nintendo lawyer to waltz into court and argue that only Mario is legally allowed to wear overalls. Sega tries to put Sonic in a denim suspenders and suddenly they're facing $1 billion lawsuit. But here's the truth. This isn't about Sega winning. It's not about Nintendo losing. It's about the fight. It's about competition, because when companies fight, gamers win. Back in the day, we just didn't get Sonic 2. We got Super Mario World. We didn't just get Streets of Rage. We got Zelda: A Link to the Past. Masterpieces came out, blood in the water. And right now, Nintendo's gotten too comfortable, too cocky, too greedy. So here's my dream scenario. Sega doesn't need to burn billions on a console. They don't need another Dreamcast heartbreak. All they need to do is keep throwing shade, keep putting out games that remind Nintendo they're not untouchable, keep being the cooler uncle who shows up at a family gatherings with tattoos and a 6-pack of energy drinks. Because if Sonic Crossroads is anything to go by, Nintendo just got a wake-up call. And you know what? I hope Sega keeps it up, because maybe, just maybe, if Sega keeps poking the bear, Nintendo will finally get off its lazy throne and start acting like they care again. And you thought that was it? Oh, no, no, no. You thought the roast session was over. Buckle up, because the story gets more twists than a Mario Kart track on 200cc's. So get this, out of all people, Pocket Pair, the little studio that could, the underdog that Nintendo's currently dragging through a courtroom like Bowser throwing Mario into lava, comes flying out of the left field with a Twitter post. And not just any post. No, this wasn't some "thank you for playing our game" wholesome post. This was straight up shade, petty, beautiful, and legendary. They tweeted, and I quote, "Power World Remaster, Ultimate Pelagus Island Edition, $300, game key not included." When I tell you I laughed, I mean I doubled over. I was crying, I was wheezing, I was laughing so hard my neighbors probably thought I was being attacked. Because first off, $300? What does that even mean? What's in this edition? Do I get a real pal shipped to my door? Is there a live alpaca in the box wearing DLC armor? Because if I'm paying $300, that pal better mow the lawn, wash my dishes, and do my taxes while humming the Pokemon theme song. But the real dagger, game key not included. Oh, that was chef's kiss. That wasn't just a jab. That was a full-on uppercut to Nintendo's jaw, because let's not forget, Nintendo's out here charging us for game key cards now. That's right. You pay for the physical object, but oh sorry, no actual game. It's like buying a Happy Meal and the cashier hands you a box and says, "Oh, you wanted fries too? That's another $10 DLC." And I know, I understand, Nintendo's games are on physical cartridges, we know. That's the bare minimum. And Pocket Pair, the studio, literally being sued into the Stone Age, decides to poke the bear while standing in front of the bear's cave holding a steak covered in honey. I don't know if that's bravery or stupidity, but either way, I respect it. And honestly, I love it. I love that the industry is finally clowning Nintendo again, because let's be real, Nintendo needs to get humbled. They've been walking around like the mafia of gaming for too long, suing people for mods, charging $70 to $90 for glorified games and the DLC, and fanboys still out here defending them like, no, you don't understand. This is innovation. Innovation? Bro, that's just greed wearing a Mario hat. Now, I've heard people say, but Nintendo saved the gaming industry once. And yeah, sure, that's true. Back in the 80s, after the crash, they swooped in with the NES, dusted off the rubble, and gave us the light at the end of the tunnel. Respect where it's due. But don't get it twisted. Nintendo didn't just save us out of the kindness of their hearts. They didn't ride in like superheroes. They saw an opening and said, oh, the market's wide open. Let's take over. Slap a lockout chip on every cartridge and make sure no one else can breathe without paying us first. And by the way, let's not rewrite history. Nintendo didn't cause the first crash, but they weren't anywhere near it either. That mess was a cocktail of shovelware, bad Atari games, and ET landfill. But Nintendo, they swooped in like the kid who shows up late to the group project, hands in the paper, and then takes credit for everything. And to this day, people still treat them like saints for it. But Pocket Pair, oh, they're out here reminding everybody that the Emperor's got no clothes. That $300 Ultimate Edition with no game key tweet. That was comedy gold. That was satire. That was the gaming equivalent of those old school Sega commercials. Sega does what Nintendo don't. Only now it's Pocket Pair does what Nintendo won't, roast themselves for free. And you know what? I'm here for it, because when the little guy starts clowning the giant, that's when the cracks start to show. That's when the fanboys can't keep defending. That's when we, the gamers, actually win. So Nintendo, consider this a wake-up call. You're not untouchable. You're not above mockery. You can sue. You can flex. You can throw your weight around. But the second a scrappy little Deb with an alpaca guns can make the whole internet laugh at your expense, guess what? You just got humbled. So at the end of the day, that's where we're at. Nintendo, the so-called giant, getting roasted left and right, not just by critics, not just by gamers like me, but by their own competitors and even the little underdogs they're dragging into court. And honestly, I'm loving every second of it, because sometimes the only way to bring a Titan down to earth is with a $300 fake deluxe edition tweet that reminds everyone how ridiculous the game has gotten. So here's my final thoughts. Nintendo, if you want to stay kings, then act like it. Stop nickel and diming us with game key cards that don't include the games, which I know Nintendo puts their games on, but they supply the game key cards nonetheless. Stop pretending that a $30 DLC charity is charity work, when we all know it's nothing more than cut content. Because if Pocket Pair, of all people, can clown you this hard, imagine what happens when Sony or some hungry new studio decides to really take a swing. Until then, I'll be here with my popcorn, cheering on every jab, every roast, every meme, waiting for the day finally Nintendo gets humbled. And when that day comes, oh, you better believe I'll be screaming it from the rooftops. Sega does what Nintendo don't, and Pocket Pair memes what Nintendo can't. Thank you, good night, and remember, if you buy the $300 deluxe edition, don't forget the game's not included. And now it's time to read off the members of the channel. We got GaraOfTheRage, Maximilian Pegasus 88, Mattbox 94, Shade Milkman, Oh No It's Justin, Brian Payne, Andy Ritz, J Wesby 65, C-Stars Piplup, Maximus 2400, John Molina, Dustin 360, That PlayStation Gamer, The Gaming Rift, Raymond YouTube 1, Brian Abraham, Stephen Ramy, Vedpool Zexel, Wooden's Throne, Matthew Buckley, Byron Morse, King Paco Nintendo Lover, and AV Gator 2000. Thank you so much for becoming part of the crew. Well, that's the end of the video. If you truly enjoyed it and want to support the channel, why not consider becoming a member? It's just $1 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive badges and emotes, plus shout out the end of each video. And hey, once the list gets too long, we'll turn it into a full credit roll so everyone still gets their moment to shine. Also, don't forget to check out the exclusive Vigilante merch. Rep the brand, support the channel, and look good doing it. And of course, make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel grow. I'm really trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I really need your help. And also, if you want to check me out live, I go live every Monday morning around 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until next time, guys, stay vigilant.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're